What's going on, guys? It's Balla24 bringing you some drop zone gameplay with the MSR. And for this commentary, I want to take a little bit more of a personal approach, I guess. You know, I've always been kind of secretive about who I am, what I'm about, my history, things like that. So I figure, I'm going to kind of start giving you guys a little bit of information about who I am and a little bit about me. So if there's things you want to know, if there's things you want me to talk about, if you want me to keep doing stuff like this, let me know. And, we'll see what we can do. But to start off, I really want to talk about my dogs. For this first video, talking, giving you guys a little bit about myself, I really want to talk about my dogs because if you know me, you know that my dogs are like children to me. They're like my babies. I absolutely love them. I always have to own a dog. For as long as I live, I'll always have to have one dog in the house. I cannot live without dogs. And I'll just start off from the beginning. I've had 5 dogs in my life. The first dog I ever had was when I was like 3 or 4 years old. My parents took me to the pound, and while we were there, I saw a little Chihuahua. She was like 8, 9, 10 years old, something like that. They didn't know the exact age, but it was a little Chihuahua, and I'm 3, 4 years old. I absolutely loved her. I fell in love with that dog. I wanted it, and so my parents got it. They let me name her. I named her Brandy, and that was the first dog we ever had. And that dog was a fighter. That dog was not afraid of anything. I remember one day, or a couple times actually, that our neighbor had 2 Rottweilers. And this is a little Chihuahua. I mean, she's 4 or 5 pounds. She would get in the faces of the Rottweilers, and she would start barking at them. I mean, this dog that's like the size of their heads starts barking at them, and it was the funniest thing because she was not afraid. She legitimately thought she was intimidating those dogs and that they were going to be afraid of her if she barked at them, but she's the size of their head. I mean, it was the funniest thing. But that was my first dog. My second dog that I ever had he was a miniature pinscher, and we got him from my cousins, from my uncle, because they had him for 2 years. They got him when he was a puppy, and they never really trained him, so they couldn't control him. He was tearing up their house. He was tearing up the blinds, peeing on the walls, peeing on their stairs, you name it. So they knew we had a dog, and they offered him to us. We took him, and we trained him. And it took a while to break, but we trained him. He learned, a lot of what he's supposed to do, what he's not supposed to do. Became a really good dog. They named him Casper. My uncles, when they had him, they named him Casper. He's a miniature pinscher, just a brown miniature pinscher. And we got him when he was 2 years old. He was an absolute terror, but we trained him. He became the most loving dog. He always needed attention. He always needed affection. He needed to be able to have someone petting him, someone to just be around. He always needed to be around people. So it was always funny. We called him the sissy dog because he always needed affection. And as Brandy started getting older, I mean, she was already around 10 when we got her. As she started to get older, we figured, we always wanted to have at least 2 dogs in the house just because they'd have someone to be around. So when I was like 13, my neighbor was selling miniature pinscher puppies. He bred miniature pinschers, and he was selling the puppies. And he wanted to make sure, and I wanted one. We had 2 dogs. Brandy was getting old, and I wanted another one of the puppies. I wanted the min pin. And so I bought her, with my birthday money, with money that I had saved up. I bought her. I paid $300 for her. And she was my dog. She was my baby. We named her Lucila after my great grandmother. And it was I absolutely loved that dog. She was very independent, but she was on her own, and then whenever she wanted something, then she'll come see you, and then you pet her, play with her, whatever it was. She was very independent, but that dog was my baby. She was my dog. I mean, there was really no other way for me to say it. Every night when I would go to sleep, she would come into my room, she would jump on my bed, and she would sleep in between my legs. Every single night, no matter what, she was there laying in between my legs, sleeping in between my legs every single night. And that was just what she did. That's the kind of dog she was. I loved her so much. And so we had her for about 2 more years before Brandy, the Chihuahua, got really old and passed away. Brandy, we put her to sleep when she was like 18, 19 years old, which is really a long time for a dog. I mean, it's a really long time for a dog to survive. So at that point, we had two dogs. We had Casper and we had Lucila. And they were great dogs. They were, I mean, I could not ask for, better dogs than the dogs I've had throughout my life. And, we love them. We treat them like family members, take care of them. I mean, we just absolutely love them. And so, as the dogs started to get a little bit older, as Casper got a little bit older, we decided it was time to, look for another dog. Casper was around 13, getting around 13 years old. We figured he wasn't going to be around much longer. He was getting really skinny. He was getting, kind of weak. And we decided to look around for another dog. And ever since my original Chihuahua, Brandy, died, I wanted another Chihuahua. Like, I absolutely loved those dogs. I loved just how much fighters they were, how feisty, how funny they are. I mean, it's just funny to see a little 4 or 5 pound dog think they're like the baddest thing in the world. It's hilarious. And so I just love the attitude that the little Chihuahuas had, and I wanted another one. So we started looking, and we eventually found one. We eventually found, we were looking all over the place. We didn't want to pay a lot of money. We weren't going to pay, $2,000 for a dog or something. And, we ended up finding one, or I ended up finding one. I was looking on Craigslist, and I saw an ad that somebody had posted for a Chihuahua, and it was like $60, $65, whatever it was. And we went and looked it up, and we got her. We got a little Chihuahua, and we named her Koncha after my aunt. I don't know why we have a habit of naming dogs after family members, but that just seems like what we've been doing. We just like to kind of name our dogs after people that we care about, because we love our dogs and we want, just that representation of people that we do care about. So then from there we had 3 dogs again. We had Casper, Minpin, we had Lucila, and we had Koncha. And as they start getting older, Casper was getting up in age, and Lucila started to have some health problems. We were taking her to the vet largely for like an ear infection, but she was, just on medicine. She was having a couple of health problems, and she was kind of big. She was kind of fat, I'll agree. I mean, you guys will see. I'm going to include pictures at the end of these dogs, so you'll see that Lucila was a fat little dog. No matter what we did, no matter how much of a diet we put her on, she stayed fat. Like, she lost weight, but she stayed fat. And, so we had 3 dogs at this point: Casper, Lucila, and Koncha. And we figured, that we're gonna be good for a while, because we're still gonna have 2 dogs. We figured Casper was gonna die and of old age in a couple years, and we're gonna have Lucila and Koncha, and then we'd have 2 dogs for a while, and we'll be okay. Well, starting right around the middle of last year, or maybe early last year and middle of last year. Actually, it was early last year, in 2011. Lucila, her health got worse. It started to decline. It started to get worse. And so we were taking her to the vet constantly. And eventually one day we wake up in the morning, and she's laying on the ground completely stiff. Like, she's not moving. She's not responding. Nothing. And so me and my dad, we rushed to take her to the vet. We rushed to take her, to get checked out to see what's going on. And as soon as we get there, she died. Like, I'm holding her in my arms as we're going to get ready to walk in the door, and she died. It was so painful. It was rough. And, she was 8 years old, which is really young for a dog. And so then what happened was, then at that point we only had 2 dogs. We had Casper and we had Koncha. And Casper, like I said, was getting old too, so we figured he wasn't going to be around too much longer, so we decided to look for another dog. And my mom had always wanted a Yorkie. It was one of the dogs, she just loved how little they are, how cute they looked. And so she wanted a Yorkie, and it turns out that my cousin's ex-girlfriend had 2 Yorkies that had puppies. And she was willing to sell us one of the puppies, so we ended up going to pick up one of the puppies. We sold it, or she sold it to us, and we named her Pilsen, which is a Colombian beer. It's, in case you guys didn't know, my family is Colombian, and we named her Pilsen, which is the name of a beer. And it's just like, that's my mom's baby. She treats her like a little angel. And couple months later, Casper was really old. He was really weak, and we had to put him to sleep. So now we have two dogs. We have Koncha, the Chihuahua mix, and we have Pilsen, the Yorkie. So when you guys see my commentaries, you hear dogs barking in the background or something, those are my dogs. But again, guys, I'm going to cut this commentary. I really hope you enjoyed. It's a little just brief history about me and my dogs. Please let me know if you like this kind of thing. Like I said, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. But thank you, like always, for watching. This is Bala24, and I'm out.